They told you America was the land of opportunity, that anybody willing to work hard enough could make it. But here is what they left out of that story. That promise was written for one kind of person, and Sarah Breedlove was not that person. She was black. She was a woman. She was poor. She was a widow raising a child alone on the money she made scrubbing other people's dirty laundry. And every single system around her, the white business world, the black male establishment, and the federal government, all agreed on one thing. She had no future worth paying attention to. They were wrong. This is the story of how a woman who started with $1.25 built an empire that made her the first self-made female millionaire in American history. But do not get it twisted. This is not a feel-good story. This is an indictment. Because the same country that tried to bury her is the same country that later tried to take credit for her. And the men who laughed at her, they had to watch her walk past every single one of them. What she built was not just a business. It was proof that the system was rigged. And today, we are going to show you exactly how she proved it. Sarah Breedlove came into this world on December 23, 1867, in Delta, Louisiana, on a plantation. Her parents, Owen and Minerva, had been enslaved. The Civil War had ended, but freedom did not mean safety. It did not mean land. It did not mean money. It meant sharecropping. Same fields, different chains. Sarah was the fifth child and the first in her family to be born free after emancipation. That one fact alone should have meant something. But freedom on paper and freedom in real life were two very different things in Louisiana in 1867. By the time Sarah was 7 years old, both of her parents were gone. She went to live with her older sister Louvenia, and Louvenia's husband made that house a nightmare. Sarah was a child in poverty, living with an abusive man she could not escape. So at 14 years old, she made the only move she could. She married a man named Moses McWilliams, not for love necessarily, for survival. In 1885, she gave birth to her daughter Lelia, and then in 1887, Moses died. Just like that. Sarah Breedlove was approximately 19 or 20 years old, widowed, and alone with a 2-year-old baby in the post-Reconstruction South. The world had already knocked her down 3 times before she was old enough to vote. She packed up and moved to St. Louis, and she did what she had to do. She washed clothes. Day after day, year after year, hands in hot water, back bent over a washboard, breathing in lye soap and steam. She told the New York Times herself in 1917, and I want you to hear this in her own words. When, a little more than 12 years ago, I was a washerwoman, I was considered a good washerwoman and laundress. I am proud of that fact. At times, I also did cooking, but work as I would, I seldom could make more than $1.50 a day. $1.50 a day. That was the ceiling America put on this woman's life, and nobody was looking to raise it. But something was happening to Sarah while she scrubbed those floors and washed those clothes. She was watching, she was studying, and she was going to night school. She was not going to stay on that washboard forever. Then came a new problem. Her hair started falling out. The harsh lye soap she worked with every day, the steam, the lack of proper hair care products, all of it was taking a toll. And she was not alone. Most black women in America at the turn of the century had the same problem. There was no indoor plumbing in most homes. Washing your hair once a month was normal. Scalp disease was common. And the beauty industry? It had products for white women. Black women did not exist in their business plans. The market was right there. Tens of thousands of black women with real needs, real money, and nobody serving them. That gap was about to become Sarah Breedlove's doorway. In 1904, she started selling hair care products for a black entrepreneur named Annie Turnbow Malone. Now let us be clear about something that most people skip over. Annie Turnbow Malone was a chemist, a businesswoman, and she was already building something real before Walker arrived. She was a mentor. She gave Sarah Breedlove her first look inside this industry. That matters, because one of the big themes of this story is about who gets credit and who gets erased. And Annie Malone herself would later get erased from the history books by the same forces that almost erased Walker. But we will get back to that. By 1905, Sarah made a move. she packed up and headed to Denver, Colorado. And there, she started developing her own product line. She launched with $1.25 and a formula she called Madam Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower. She also married an advertising man named Charles Joseph Walker, and she took his name and put the word Madam in front of it, a nod to the French beauty world, a title that demanded respect. She was no longer Sarah the washerwoman. She was Madam C.J. Walker, and she was coming. Now, here is where it gets good. She did not open a store and wait for customers. She went door to door, woman to woman, community to community, demonstrating her products on real people and getting real results. She was not just selling shampoo. She was selling the idea that Black women deserve to feel good about themselves. In an era where most of society told Black women they were the bottom of everything, she walked up and said, "No, you matter. Your hair matters, and I have something for you." And this is exactly how they get away with it, erasing women like her from the history they teach in schools. Hey family, real talk. YouTube has shut down channels for telling exactly these kinds of stories. So I need you to find us off this platform. Go to blackstories-untold.com, join our mailing list, and make sure we stay connected no matter what they do. Now, back to what happened. By 1910, Walker had moved her whole operation to Indianapolis. The city had railroad access, which meant she could ship products fast. It had a large Black population. It was exactly where she needed to be, and she was building something nobody had ever seen before. She trained Black women to sell her products. She paid them. She gave them a business. She called them Walker agents. By the time of her death in 1919, the Walker Company had trained at minimum 20,000 women. Some sources put the number higher, up to 40,000. But the most carefully sourced figure points to at least 20,000 active agents, 20,000 Black women, in an era when Black women were supposed to be invisible, running their own businesses, earning their own money, answering to nobody but themselves and Madam Walker. But the full picture of what she was building is even bigger than this. Because Walker was not just doing business, she was constructing an economic structure from scratch, one that the white business world never gave her access to, and one that the Black male leadership did not take seriously, not at first. Now let us talk about Booker T. Washington. He was the most powerful Black political figure in America in the early 1900s. He founded the Tuskegee Institute. Presidents listened to him. His word could open doors or close them, and he did not want to open them for Madam C.J. Walker. Multiple times, she asked him for a platform at his National Negro Business League conventions. Multiple times, she was turned away or given something small, a side chapel, not the main stage. Some historians have pointed to what appears to be a simple problem Washington had with Walker. She was a woman. She had not gone through the right doors. She had not asked the right people. And her money was coming from a business that involved hair products, something that serious men did not see as real commerce. On August 23, 1912, at the National Negro Business League convention in Chicago, Madam Walker showed up anyway. Washington had not put her on the program. He was not going to give her the floor. Her friend George Knox stood up in the audience and tried to introduce her story, tried to get Washington to hear her. Washington ignored it. He called on the next male speaker as if the request had never happened, as if Walker was not even in the room. So she stood up herself, without permission, without an invitation. She rose from that audience and she spoke. And here is what she said, recorded in the Library of Congress records of the National Negro Business League. "Surely you are not going to shut the door in my face. I feel that I am in a business that is a credit to the womanhood of our race. I am a woman who started in business 7 years ago with only $1.50. I went into a business that is despised, that is criticized and talked about by everybody, the business of growing hair. They did not believe such a thing could be done, but I have proven beyond the question of a doubt that I do grow hair." The room heard her, and she told them her numbers. In her first year, she brought in $1,366. Her second year, $3,652. And in that same year of the convention, by August, she had already taken in $18,000 in Indianapolis alone. Grand total across her years in business, over $63,000. In a room full of businessmen who did not think she belonged there, she put her receipts on the table, and this is where everything connects. Because what Walker did that day was not just personal defiance. She exposed something. She exposed the fact that black male respectability politics had its own version of gatekeeping. The same way white industry locked black people out, black male leadership was locking black women out. Walker walked through both locked doors at the same time. The year after she crashed that convention floor, 1913, Booker T. Washington introduced her at his Tuskegee convention as, and I quote, "a striking example of the possibilities of Negro womanhood in the business world." He had no choice. She had already made herself undeniable. Walker kept growing. In 1913, she took her business international to Cuba, Panama, Jamaica, Costa Rica, and Haiti. She opened Lelia College in Pittsburgh in 1908, the first Walker beauty training school. And she built Villa Lewaro, a mansion in Irvington-on-Hudson, New York, designed by Vertner Tandy, the first licensed black architect in New York City. The woman who earned $1.50 a day now owned an estate that made rich white neighbors uncomfortable. But money was never the only thing she was building. By 1917, Walker had helped organize the Silent Protest Parade in New York City, marching more than 8,000 black Americans up Fifth Avenue to protest a violent massacre in East St. Louis. That same summer, her agents held their first national convention in Philadelphia, one of the very first national gatherings of women entrepreneurs in American history. At the end of that convention, they sent a telegram directly to President Woodrow Wilson demanding that he support legislation to make lynching a federal crime. Wilson refused to even see the black delegation when they came to the White House. And here is what they do not put in history books. In 1918, the United States government put Madam C.J. Walker under surveillance. They labeled her a Negro subversive. A black War Department spy was sent to watch her. Think about that. The woman petitioning the government to protect black people from racial violence was being treated as the threat. She was not the threat. She was the truth, and the truth scared them. She kept fighting. In May 1919, just weeks before she died, she stood at Carnegie Hall and pledged $5,000 to the NAACP's anti-lynching fund. NAACP Secretary John R. Shalady wrote to her to say it was the largest gift the organization had ever received. She was 51 years old, sick with kidney disease and complications from high blood pressure, and she was still writing checks to fight for black lives. Madam C.J. Walker died on May 25, 1919, at Villa Lewaro. The woman who had started with $1.25 left an estate worth an estimated $600,000 to $700,000, the equivalent of roughly $9 to $10 million in today's money. The Guinness World Records later recognized her as the first self-made female millionaire in American history. That title has some honest complexity to it. Walker herself said in 1917 that she was not yet a millionaire, but hoped to be. Researchers who include her real estate holdings put her clearly over the line. And while her mentor, Annie Turnbow Malone, may have reached that level of wealth around the same time, Malone's finances are not as fully documented. What is clear is this: both of these black women built generational wealth in an era when America was doing everything it could to make that impossible. So here is what this story is really about. It is not about a woman who made it despite all the odds. It is about a woman who made it, and in doing so, exposed every lie the system was built on. The lie that black people could not run serious businesses. The lie that black women belonged in the background. The lie that a government surveilling you was there to protect you. The lie that respectability gatekeepers were your allies. Walker did not just win. She showed the cracks in every wall that was built to stop her. And that is exactly why her story got pushed to the margins of the history books. Because a washerwoman becoming a millionaire is inspiring. But a washerwoman becoming a millionaire and then using that money to fight the federal government, that is dangerous. That is the story they did not want you to know. Now you know it. This was Black Stories Untold. And as always, thanks for watching. If you want more stories like this, click the video on your screen now.